beware. Hey buddy, how you doing? Welcome all my patrons to Viewer Beware. It's the only show where we go over each and every episode of the original Goosebumps TV series, and tonight we are watching Don't Wake Mummy. Now this is our second mummy-centric episode in the Goosebumps lineage so far, and you're going to want to compare it to Season 1's Return of the Mummy, but let's hold off on that till the end. I mean, after all, there have been so many sequels that have surpassed the original against all odds. Who can forget Samurai Cop, the reimagining of Hollywood Cop? Never heard of that one? What about, Jaws? He decided not to blow up and we got Jaws the Revenge.
Boy, did that shark get its payback.
Exactly. And what about Will Smith? What if he stopped at just one kid? Then we never get the Karate Kid with Jaden, or Emo Girl with Willow.
Or whipping our hair back and forth.
And speaking of music, what about Billy Idol? What if he left well enough alone after White Wedding, and we never got White Wedding Part 2, which is just 5 minutes of chorus and synthesizer? Now obviously these are all murals on the halls of modern history, so let's keep an open mind with Don't Wake Mummy. It's the story of a kid that is relentlessly bullied by his older sister, and, you know, things take a turn for the supernatural. Sure, we've seen it before, but have we seen it with a mummified heart in the garbage disposal? No! Of course we haven't. That would be crazy if we had. So, with that said, I got beer all over myself, but let's get into the episode.
Nothing scares my sister Kim. She's one of those fearless kids that make me sick.
We open with our hero Jeff being tormented by his older sister Kim and her friend Shawna. Disrupting the spider prank is a mailman delivering a full sarcophagus. I wasn't even aware that standard mail could deliver human remains, especially to a residential address.
Hey, it's your mummy.
Anyway, they bring the mummy inside, the family unpacks the canopic jars, and examines the surprisingly plain-looking sarcophagus while Jeff objects to keeping it around.
It's still a coffin with a dead body inside.
Turns out Kim had a perfect movie-quality mummy hand just locked and ready to go for this very specific circumstance. After Mom breaks up the squabbling, she reads the hieroglyphics on the coffin to reveal the male mummy is named Amen Lukacs, son of Ramses II, making him royalty. After settling in for the night, Mom serves the kids pizza with uncooked whole green olives as toppings, which is absolutely unhinged.
What's the matter, Jeffy? Don't like eyeballs on your pizza?
After Mom leaves, it's revealed that Kim ordered the strange pizza on purpose just to mess with Jeff, so I guess she's off the hook on that one. For some reason, Kim brings a canopic jar to set on the dinner table and explain the whole mummification process. Again, just to mess with Jeff. While Mom is out for work, the kids decide to watch a mummy horror movie, specifically to scare Jeff even more. However, while watching the movie, we learn about something called mummy dust, which is ground up bones of other mummies, which somehow lets you control a living mummy. It makes no sense at all, but I'm willing to put down cold hard cash that it comes into play later.
Open it, quick!
Jeff gets way too scared and shuts the movie off, saying Kim has seen it so much already it doesn't matter. Which Kim agrees, so she drags all the kids down to the basement to open the real sarcophagus. Even Shawna is starting to question how much Kim is into this stuff, further proving that Kim is some kind of sociopath. The kids open up the sarcophagus, revealing a mummy that still has a lot of skin and a full eyeball, which is strange for a 4,000-year-old body. I'm also noticing that the sarcophagus looks a little small for this guy, like they buried him with his knees bent or something, especially since the bottom has a cat compartment. While Jeff is wondering about the life the mummy must have lived, Kim and Shawna run out of the basement and lock Jeff inside. As Jeff panics to find a way out, the mummy inexplicably raises from its rest, and Jeff takes off out of the cellar door and tells the kids the mummy is awake before running off to his room.
The mummy's alive! The mummy's alive!
The girls laugh about their prank and go down to close the lid of the sarcophagus before recognizing that the mummy's arms are in a different position.
Am I crazy or were his arms crossed before? Shawna, you're right. You are crazy.
But it's probably no big deal, so they close it and forget about it. That night, Jeff is hiding in his bed when he hears someone enter his room. Turns out Mom is back for the night and tries her best to ease Jeff's nerves. While that's going on, Kim and Shawna are planning yet another prank before Shawna asks an important question.
Why do you hate him so much?
I don't hate him. He's just a wimp, that's all.
And wimps get what they ask for.
So Kim is a sociopath, and it's surprising she even has a friend. While Jeff and his mom are studying the sarcophagus, they discover that even though he was the 12th son of Ramses, he still became the pharaoh after murdering his brothers.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me our mummy's a killer?
Was a killer, Jeff. Was a killer.
With that unsettling information processing in his mind, Jeff goes back to sleep and Mom makes a phone call to Dad to explain her findings.
Why did you send the mummy to the house?
I was hoping you could start deciphering the hieroglyphics. Did everything arrive intact?
While that's going on, the mummy makes another appearance.
I have come for you.
Or so we think. Turns out it's just Kim and Shawna again, causing Jeff to snap and Mom to break them up. Immediately after that, though, the real mummy is out to play. All the girls are cowering in fear while Jeff is dodging combos before all of them run off downstairs, but not before ripping the mummy's arm off. Which goes to show, this mummy is slow, fragile, and doesn't really appear to have any mystical ability aside from reanimation. Why not just kick its ass? Jeff takes off to grab a canopic jar he thinks is full of mummy dust, just like the movie. But it turns out it's a heart, and that's bad news.
No!
It's okay, Mom. I know what I'm doing.
No, you don't. He wants his heart. His heart that's in the jar.
What for?
Your father discovered an inscription in the mummy's tomb. If this mummy gets his heart, he'll demummify. He'll become a living human again.
So the mummy wants to be a real guy again. So why not just let him do it and then kick his ass? Even if he is a real guy, he has no family, no money, and no way to find work. He's basically fighting to become a hobo. But I guess Pitbull was right when he said every day above ground is a good day. Modern day prophet. Anyway, the mummy chases Jeff around before he drops the jar and reveals the still beating heart, which he destroys by sucking it down some sort of magical garbage disposal. Destroying the heart turns the mummy into a pile of cloth and bones.
Now that's what I call mummy dust.
The next morning, Mom is curious how the mummy came back because the only way it could have is if someone opened the lid of the sarcophagus. Kim and Shawna quickly shake off the blame they should have taken for that and compliment Jeff on his bravery during the mummy fight incident.
That took a lot of guts, little brother. Yours and his.
While the family settles in for breakfast, they hear a strange meowing outside their door. But then I said nacho cheese. Anyway, the mummy's gone for good, and his cat is now out running amok. It's not a big threat because Jeff can just shut the door and then take all the canopic jars and dump them in the garbage disposal.
Just throw the cat in the garbage disposal. It's a cat.
But contractual obligation meant that they had to end the episode with some kind of twist or jump scare, and they already used the story's jump scare halfway through the episode when the mummy wakes up. Also, notice how I said story and not book. This is because Don't Wake Mummy is adapted from one of 10 short stories in a book called Even More Tales to Give You Goosebumps. So naturally, a whole lot had to be changed.
Here we go.
In the original story, Jeff's dad is a museum curator, not an archaeologist. So he orders a sarcophagus to his workplace and it ends up at his house. Easy mistake to make. We've all done it. So Kim bullies Jeff and she locks him in the basement. Nothing happens though. He's just scared. And then the next day rolls around. This is also a change. It's over the course of multiple days. Jeff goes to a magic shop, learns about mummy dust, brings that home. And then in that time, Kim creates her mummy costume instead of just kind of spawning it out of nowhere and having it on hand. Anyway, in the climax of the story, Jeff is up late at night waiting for the mummy to wake up, And then when he sees the mummy, he starts causing such a racket and screaming and yelling. His parents wake up. And then the mummy, who is actually Kim in costume, darts down into the basement to not get caught. Jeff tells his story to his parents, and his parents are like, I knew mummies are real. Let's lock this door. So they lock the basement door. And then we flash over to Kim's perspective. She's locked in the basement, and she starts hearing rumbly footsteps behind her. End of story. I have to be totally honest here. I like the original story way more than the adaptation. And sometimes you want to break up the monsters with something as a looming threat off screen. While the kids are just being kids, there's something sinister about and just plotting. That's scary. That's impactful. You know, big scary monsters are fun, but, you know, something that you have to connect the dots and piece together on your own is something that you can really take home with you. And now, time for comparison to Season 1's Return of the Mummy. The biggest and boldest thing that stands out is that Don't Wake Mummy looks and feels so cheap compared to Return of the Mummy. Return of the Mummy had like an actual set that looked like a tomb, and the desert area, it felt more real. And that is a major fault. It's hard to look past. Even when they look at the dad in Egypt, it's a real crappy green screen. It looks horrible. Overall, Don't Wake Mummy feels like a regression for the series. So I'm going to have to give it 2 bumps out of 5. You don't have to watch this one. You can, but I mean, you know, Mummy wakes up. There you go. So I'll see you guys on the next one on Viewer Beware.
Hey, it's your mummy.